Welcome to Superstitions, Traditions. I am Kristen.
And I am Trish.
And this is our little podcast about all of history shenanigans.
We talk about some of the greatest things.
Some of the greatest
and some of the
things.
most bizarre things.
And some of the worst things we've done in the past.
We have talked about some of the worst things too. I will not. Yes, we have.
Yeah. But it's all right. We can learn from it.
That's why we have history. We're supposed to learn from history.
We are.
Yes.
And if we don't, we are doomed to repeat it.
Exactly.
So, today is Superstitions, and we are going to talk about tattooing.
I can honestly say that I do not have a tattoo.
I can help you with that.
Because you have several.
I do.
Yes.
I have several, and I love my tattoos.
And I love tattoos. I can't say it out loud. I have kind of a fear of needles.
Oh.
Otherwise, I would probably have tattoos. So.
Yeah.
I'm thinking doing a tattoo now that my skin's a little more wrinkled. First of all, you're going to have to put something on it to hold it.
And they do.
Do they? They
they'll
stretch it out so you and then when it comes back together, I don't know. It's just a whole process I'll have to think about.
Think about it.
I'll think about
it. We'll get you a cute little kayak on your forehead or something.
I would love a kayak. Maybe not on my forehead.
Maybe not on your forehead.
But I'm retired, so
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. I mean, it's not like
We can do little teardrops.
Oh.
And have the kayak on your cheek, like swimming under it like it's a waterfall.
Oh, I do love that.
Yeah.
I do love that.
There we go.
Uh-huh.
Or we can have it look like drool for the kayak to swim on.
Yeah, because I am kind of getting to that age where it's just natural. You just have that drool. So I may not even need to have that tattoo on. We can just get the kayak and have it. I can
naturally float the kayak.
More about me than you ever wanted to know.
No, I think it's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
let's get started.
Jumping in. Tattoos have been around for a very, very long time.
Oh, yes.
In a lot of cultures, ancient Greek, ancient Rome, they were used to identify the outcasts of society.
Okay.
Slaves were tattooed with a triangle, which was their letter delta, and the first letter in the Greek word for slave.
Oh, okay.
Criminals were tattooed with a letter that was associated with the crime they committed. So like if they committed murder, it would
like an M somewhere,
probably, or whatever,
whatever
their word for murder was,
right.
Something that was symbolic for it. Herodotus, the Greek historian, and a Greek playwright named Aristophanes. They both recorded the tattoos from ancient Greece, which is part of the reason we know about them. Herodotus stated that this method was adopted from the Persians, who tattooed criminals and prisoners of war. So the Greeks kind of adopted it from the Persians, which were kind of close. The Persians were the area of like India, kind of.
So they could kind of
mingle
with each other. Yes, there was mingling.
There was some mingling. Emperor Constantine banned tattooing in 330 AD, which ended the practice of tattooing criminals.
Okay.
And Leo III, Emperor Leo III, he banned all tattooing. Just completely wiped it out.
Like executive order.
Yes.
Wiped that out. Okay.
And that was in the 8th century, and it was due to the pagan religions influence on tattooing,
because there was a lot of tattooing that was associated with the different pagan religions during that time.
Yes. So the 8th century is when Constantine in 300 AD, that's kind of the start of Christianity being accepted.
Okay.
By the 8th century, Christianity was widespread in this area and was moving north and east, west, kind of branching out from this area where Christ was born. And
so during this time, I know you've hit a lot on tattooing maybe others because of crimes that they committed or got? Was there a lot of just tattooing based on, gee, I want to put a...
Not with the Greeks or the Romans. It was solely used as when we say tattoo, it was solely used as an identification for the outcasts of society. There were tattoos, what we consider tattoos, in this era at this time, but those we are believing were like medical
like
procedures.
The Egyptians. Yes, when they would tattoo because of the the abdominal area and the pelvic region during childbirth to help protect, or to make a little net around the baby to keep the baby safe. Now, during the first excavations, right, when they would find females that had tattoos, since a lot of the excavators were male, they always just assumed that the women that were marked were because they were of ill repute.
Yes.
So they were just cast aside, correct?
Yes, that was the association. And when did we start doing that? Like the 16, 17, 1800s, when we started digging people up and staring at them for fun.
Yes.
For fun. Which is a good thing now, because we have all this imagery and things to dig deep, DNA testing, and where we can kind of understand where they were. I'm not, when they first started it, I understand the looking at all the pretty stuff they put in their tombs and things like that, but why they want to look at the dead people? They didn't know nothing. I mean, we're talking about, they didn't even know to wash their hands.
Right.
To protect they weren't going to learn anything from this body other than, they're just making their own associations, like, oh, look at her and her belly marks.
They ran loose with hypotheses back then. Yes. The scientific world would go, oh, no.
No.
That refutes your hypothesis.
Yes.
Gotcha.
But as far as the ancient Greeks, the ancient Romans, the Persians, their tattooing was strictly identification of outcasts, that you're beneath us kind of thing.
Right. But other
cultures,
like the Iceman.
Yes. Other cultures, like there were places in ancient China, primarily southern China, the Yu, the Dai, the Dulong, they were ritualistic. So whether it was for medicine or protection, or, we're making educated guesses as to why they did it. But there was a purpose for them.
A more purposeful tattoo.
It wasn't me just going, I want this
It was an
to be
expression
pretty. It was I've made this rite of passage, or
like with the Native American tribes that we'll get into later, when the females started their period, they would have certain tattoos.
Yeah, it was to denote something, some kind of ritual or healing or protection or something like that.
Okay.
However, overall in ancient Chinese culture, they were seen as barbaric. So
those with the tattoos, or just everyone in general?
Tattoos.
Okay.
Tattoos. And these southern Chinese tribes were the ones up in the mountains, that they weren't where they could just, not that they could travel freely anyway, but they were even more restricted.
Right.
So when they made it down off that mountain,
and you couldn't post your new tattoo on Facebook.
Right.
I mean,
they
just
weren't
didn't happen.
paying attention to Facebook.
Okay.
So they started kind of associating tattoos as being barbaric and with folklore and bandits, and so criminals at some point.
Those people.
Yes.
Those people. Those people. We all know some of those. Okay.
And then Confucius comes along.
Okay.
With his philosophies and that religion, and he taught that it was disrespectful to your parents and whatever higher power they had, but primarily to your parents, to mark the body that they created for you.
I just kind of got a visual of Pat and Daryl.
Oh, sorry.
Fresh.
Sorry about that.
Sorry about that, Mom and Dad. We're moving on.
Yes. But then Taoism Buddhism came along, and they kind of countered that belief. They embraced tattoos as a sign of devotion or to use as protection.
Okay.
So
with
ancient Chinese, it kind of went back and forth, and it
Uh-huh.
was dependent on what area you were from, and
the different cultures
Yes.
and how that was interpreted.
which is, across the world.
That's just how it is.
How it is.
Yeah.
And then we talked about the Egyptians, and they used them to identify social status or for protection or as religious devotion. It was also used as medical procedure kind of things.
Like for different acupuncture.
Like an acupuncture.
Maybe early
kind
acupuncture.
Of thing, for pain relief. But they were the first to really use intricate pictures being tattooed.
So it was more than
It wasn't just a
symbol
letter or
a
a couple of lines or things like that. They would tattoo amulets or animals or deities onto their body for protection or rituals or religious devotion.
And that had to be painful. We can get into that later, but
Yeah, yes. A scarab beetle was a common tattoo in ancient, because those little
do tell.
beetles were a symbol of protection to them.
Really, I did not know that about the beetle, and beetles
And
are
we
cute.
know,
beetles are cute. They have this little, but
we know about their cross, the Anka, the cross with the loop at the top.
oh yes,
Eye of Horus, which was a common symbol in ancient Egypt. Those were usually tattooed on the body also, but theirs were intricate, detailed works of art on their body. It wasn't.
It was their body was being used
ritualistic.
for a canvas and an expression, not just a marking.
Right.
Okay.
It was for protection. It was for rituals and religious devotion and things like that. But they got, it was art too. They got into it.
Now, the Native Americans, we'll get into that later as we move on, but they used theirs for medical purposes, as did the first Iceman that they found, correct?
The Iceman they found, Ortiz, or I can't remember what his name was, but not that we even knew. We guessed. we named him, but
of course we did.
Yes. He had down his spine little dots or lines. There were some on his knees and behind his knees.
Common points now that are associated with aging or pain or arthritis.
Yes. And based on his bone structure, he was so well preserved that we could really get a good look at him. And I don't remember when he was discovered.
1991.
91? Wow. Mm-hmm. I was alive.
On the Italian Austrian
right
border.
Up there in the Alps, kind of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I didn't realize it was that recent that he was discovered. Do you know how he was discovered?
No.
So a couple was just walking through this area, and he was just sitting there half buried in the snow.
Oh, I do remember that now. Because I love to hike, and never have I came upon an Iceman.
Never,
would love to.
Not once.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry.
You're
not
trying.
hiking the right regions, or
because I would love to.
Yeah, but it had the snow and everything had melted so much that he was finally exposed. And
from a scientific standpoint, I think about how long. Think about the layers and all of that, and how long the melting. Which takes, I won't go off there yet.
But probably mudslides and things like that had to occur also
in order for him to be exposed.
Can you imagine just hiking? I love to hike too, and just all of a sudden seeing a person kind of half sitting, half buried, just chilling, and
then you get up closer and go,
"This ain't right." This is not just a deceased person. This is a way beyond.
We got to call somebody.
But they came and they got him and they dug him up and, checking him out. And where he had the markings, which they believe to have been like small knife cuts that they rubbed charcoal in. Where the markings were, there was signs of like an arthritis.
So they thought that this would help.
And
you wondered, did it help? I mean,
right.
It could have. It could have helped. It may not have been just a hey.
I mean, activated charcoal does a lot of good things.
It does a lot of good things. Yes, it does.
So I use it a lot, and especially like skin issues and things like that. It comes in real handy.
And we know how acupuncture can help. So the possibilities of all that together.
Right. So he existed. We made associations based on the markings on his skin with the structure of his skeleton, of his bones and arthritis and things like that. They assumed at first that he was an older man just because of that.
Right.
It turns out after more testing and things, he was probably mid-20s to mid-30s. I mean, a young man.
I know that we've addressed it before, but times were hard.
Times were hard, yeah.
Times were hard.
And they thought that he probably froze to death, but then they discovered injuries. I believe it was some kind of knife wound.
So that there had been
a
battle
fight
or a fight or something that had happened.
Drunken brawl. Who knows? Who knows what they... Let's talk about Native American, because that Native American and Indigenous kind of gets us to tattoos today. That
correct.
We're kind of basing on that.
Yeah, the Indigenous people of North America, we can talk about different tribes, like New Zealand, their tribe, and they weren't, obviously, they're in New Zealand, but tattoos were regarded as a sign of high status. If you had a tattoo, they were normally around the head or the face region, because that was the most important part of the body.
Right.
So when you looked at that, that was kind of told a little bit about your story and who you were, and most often it was a bone was used to cut the image on the skin, and then charcoal was tapped into the wounds with a mallet, and then that's how the tattoo happened. But that was a sign of your social status and who you were, and your strength and other things that you had achieved during that lifetime. So it was a very, it was an important part of their heritage and their culture, and a symbol of just who they were. Now we traveled to North America, and it was not just like a marking on your skin, but each tattoo told a story. I mean, it highlighted your cultural connections. It talked about the indigenous ways of viewing the world and around you, and connections to family, to society, to nature, to all of those things that were important to Native Americans at that time.
Yes.
The oldest we have, I think, is a frozen mummified Inuit female.
Yes.
And she was found in Alaska, and that was in the 16th century. But they found tattoos. Obviously, they don't know what the tattoos meant, but that she did have tattoos that as they go back and they do the research and they find the Inuits and the oral history that's being passed down, because...
The oral history, and also like cave markings and things
the cave
like
markings,
that. They would mirror.
Yes, it can help explain the story. But, here we are, the Native Americans and the Indigenous are living their life. They're having their tattoos. They're doing all of that stuff. And then when the Europeans, we have the Columbian Exchange, and then we have the European colonists that come over, and they're like, whoa. Whoa, what is happening? I mean, they didn't even have a word for tattoo. So they see all of this, and they were describing it as a prick, a stamp, a burn, or paint. So they were trying to figure out what the markings were. And in 1623, there was a missionary who described actually seeing the men and the women on their tattoos. And I assume saw a tattooing process. And he said that it was with extreme pain, using needles and for piercing thorns to perforate the skin, and then putting the powdered charcoal in. So, when they came in, they also discovered that the Native Americans used them along the jawline, but that was to help with toothaches, so they could numb the nerves there where the toothaches were taking place and use the tattoos to numb that. So things were going along, but then all of a sudden during colonization, it's like...
I'm going to interrupt.
Okay.
So, in the 1700s.
1700s, get to that.
Late 1700s, they discovered the Samoan tribe.
Oh, okay.
And that is where we get the word tattoo.
That is
from
where it originated?
Samoans. Yes. So the Samoans' word for their markings on their skin was tata.
Tata. Okay.
Which we took we use the word tattoo now because the European explorers heard that word to describe these markings and turned it into tattoo.
Tattoo? Okay.
And took it and ran. Their tattoos were badges of honor. It was a social status. You got markings for rites of passage,
like
the
Inuits.
Like the Inuits.
When a female started her menstrual cycle.
Yes.
I mean, that was a rite of passage, and they felt like you couldn't make it to the other side if you did not have those tattoos.
Right.
But
they were
strength
symbolic.
And
Yes.
Yes.
Samoans would also head to toe cover.
Oh, okay.
To the point that the explorers, it was noted by one of the explorers, they were so intricately done and covered so much of the body that the person appeared clothed though they were nearly naked.
That was everywhere. I kind of wonder, was it really everywhere?
I don't know. I'm thinking there must have been a loincloth or something.
Okay.
The Samoans have a legend about their tattoos. They believe two sisters brought the art from Fiji to Samoa. And people were afraid of it. And a Samoan chief was the first to get one, and everybody followed the chief, and then it became common practice to have tattoos. A person in Samoan culture who does the tattoo is called a tufuga.
Tufuga.
It requires years and years of apprenticeship. And you can't just wake up one day and decide you want to be a tufuga. It is a highly revered, almost sacred profession.
Like being a healer.
Like being a healer, yes. And it is a role passed through generations to descendants.
So through your bloodline.
Yeah. So it's a real, sacred thing with the Samoans and with most Native American cultures.
Where the tattoo, the person giving the tattoo is a sacred healing person, and that connection is symbolic. Yes. I love that.
I do too.
I just love that.
So we get to the 1700s, late 1700s, early 1800s, and the Samoans kind of sparked an interest in the explorers and the sailors to get their own tattoos.
Okay.
And so then it just kind of became a symbol for voyagers and explorers and people who sailed often, sailors.
Okay, sailors.
To have tattoos. And they were symbolic as well.
Right.
Like there was a sparrow that you got after you reached your whatever 1,000th mile.
Kind of like Popeye.
Yes.
Because we all grew up with Popeye having tattoos.
Yes. And there's still that association now. Cursed like a sailor, tattooed like a sailor.
Right. And then if you went off to sea, you had to have a tattoo.
And you got kind of like a rite of passage.
To get your first...
your milestones as a sailor, your growth as a sailor was identified with a tattoo on your body.
Very interesting.
And they carried this back to Victorian England.
And I bet that went well.
It actually, out and about, did not, but they were intrigued. And there were a lot of Victorians that had little secret tattoos.
It's like when you find out your mama has that tattoo. Oh, no. Okay.
they didn't put it somewhere where it was going to be seen by everyone, but they would have a little one tucked on their arm or, tramp stamp
yes.
or whatever.
Right. Yes.
So, Victorian England, as prim and proper and...
They were hiding some tattoos.
They were hiding some tattoos.
Oh, I knew there was a little over there. Okay, so now we move ahead. We have We have colonization,
yes.
right? Okay, so Europeans are coming this way, and the Europeans that are coming over after they've seen all of this, they have decided. What have they decided about the tattoos now?
They're just naughty.
They are naughty.
You
yes.
don't do that.
Yes, and
you look trashy.
You can't be having all of that. Okay, so we go through like our 200 years of no tattoos and tattoos being taboo now.
Yes.
We've been colonized. Europeans come over. We're getting
the secret ones.
We're getting Native Americans, the indigenous. I say because I'm indigenous. We're getting that taboo removed from that population, and then. I was born in 1961, so I can remember back then if someone had a tattoo, it was like,
they're naughty.
They're naughty.
Yeah, they probably went to prison. Or were in the military.
Yes, but we saw that the first recorded tattoo artist in the United States, do you remember who he was? Martin Hildebrand. And again, we go back with this tattooing of the sailors, which is where you were talking about. So it took its foothold again back in the military.
Yes. Yeah. And they did a lot of flags and things to symbolize, there was symbol behind it or meaning behind it to symbolize their tours overseas or where their combats and things like that.
So we have that coming back. We have the invention in 1880 of the automatic tattoo. I have no idea what it looks like, but I would love to see what the first electric tattoo machine looked like. I can Google that.
I can.
Can you tell me?
Yes.
Okay, describe it for us.
So Samuel O'Reilly, is the one who invented the tattoo gun.
That just sounds scary.
And it was an ink pen kind of thing with a little spring to help bounce.
Okay.
He got the idea. He was already tattooing.
Okay. Just the old-fashioned?
Just the old-fashioned needle.
Okay.
Tap, tap, tap.
Okay. Not the jawbone from a
Probably
turkey
not.
with charcoal hammered in.
Yeah,
but we had advanced a little bit.
We had advanced. Well, in those, you can actually still get one of those tattoos today, especially in indigenous cultures. Or in
sacred.
Samoa,
yes,
it is a sacred act, and
yes.
it is a badge of honor to have
Correct.
a tattoo with the pointy bone that was filed down that they dipped in the charcoal or whatever and tapped with a mallet.
Yes.
Very time consuming. So his process,
very painful.
Very painful. His process was essentially the same. Samuel O'Malley was already a well-respected tattoo artist.
Okay.
Before he invented his tattoo gun. And it was the same little needle, dip in ink or whatever they were using, and time consuming. Thomas Edison had invented a pen that was supposed to make it easier to copy. So it was like pre-Xerox machine.
Okay.
And his pen, you could write out what you're saying and it would perforate the paper. And then you could cover it with ink and reuse it. Okay. So it was like how to make copies.
Right.
It was not well received in like the industrial arena, the secretarial, whatever you would need copies for.
Right.
It was cute.
It was cute. It was fun, but it did not
sound good in theory, but we're still having to do a whole lot of work, so it's not saving us much time. Samuel O'Reilly saw it and was like, that would help me though.
Okay. Can you share that?
Yeah. So he used kind of the same theory and adapted it a little bit to make his tattoo gun.
That is very impressive.
So Thomas Edison helped.
So he kind of helped us behind the scenes with that.
Thomas Edison helped invent tattoo.
Helped
make tattooing popular.
I think he would be proud.
I'm sure he would. He probably had a secret one himself.
I think he did. He probably had one somewhere, a tramp stamp that we don't know
nothing about.
Oh, well, very...
From Victorian England. It's not like he could wear that out proud.
Well, the Marlboro Man. Do you remember the Marlboro Man?
I do.
Okay, so he was, back in the 50s, he was, bringing cigarettes to the forefront, and he was all rugged and, manly. And I think during this time with the sailors and all of that, tattoos began to be associated with masculinity. Well, the Marlboro Man, he had one on his hand, and I don't even remember. I mean, I remember the Marlboro Man because, Grandma smoked Marlboros. Dad was a Pall Mall kind of guy, so how do you say that? But I don't ever remember even noticing that he had tattoos until I was doing some research, and I found that about it. But that is kind of when the association between tattoos and masculinity became forged. I love that we are getting back to that time where that tattoos are used to express and to who you are and what's important to you, and different milestones in your life.
Milestone, yes.
Yes, and that it's that not just associated with masculinity.
Right.
I mean, and if somebody has tattoos that are associated with masculinity, that is awesome for them as well too. But that we are at that time where everyone can have those tattoos.
Mm-hmm. And I love them. I think they're pretty.
I
mean, there are times I see one and I'm like, that is what you wanted?
I know some of them, and I think, but I don't know. Do you think you can have too many tattoos?
I think for myself, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I like to be able to hide mine, and because of my job and things like that, I want to make sure I look.
But everybody has their own.
Everybody, and some people do things that I wouldn't do.
That's true.
If it makes them happy,
that is exactly
cares?
Right. We each get to make our choices and live with those choices. And,
right. I mean, there's no association between a tattoo and somebody's character. I mean, unless it's like a prison tattoo and you did it for that reason. But
right.
I guess that could be an association of character. But for the most part, they're harmless. It's just something that meant something to that particular person.
You could even have them removed. So
but that is the history of tattoos. I think they're beautiful.
I think they are too. I mean, I have seen some extremely beautiful, and people that are able to just have that vision and to design a tattoo and then to I mean, it's. I'm impressed. I'm majorly impressed by it.
It is a work of art.
Mm-hmm. It is a work of art.
So, but I also understand not wanting one.
Right.
And there's lots of reasons people don't get one. It's fear of needles or pain, not wanting to be in pain, or they just don't like the way they look, and that is theirs too. So
hey, but even though I don't have any, I can admire, I respect, I admire. I think that's awesome.
Yep. To each their own.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
That's why we live in America.
Yes.
To each their own.
For now. For a minute.
We smile. Well, this was a fun one. I really enjoyed it.
All right. Well, let us know what you think. Tell us about your tattoos. And come back and see us next time.